And I think that's a question that we need to continue to ask those that are running for office. Do you understand the purpose of government? He was very eloquent in this regard. Government has no rights. They derive their power to govern in the first place from we the people. And the Declaration of Independence makes that clear as well, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. I want to roll a clip because Les, he got me going here, and he nailed it. I want to roll a clip here by Senator Tom Harkin out of Iowa. The health care bill rolls through, and listen to what he says. You want to hear the problem in government emanating through one individual? Listen to this. Chappie, roll that clip.
What this bill does is we finally take that step. As our leader said earlier, we take that step from health care as a privilege to health care as an inalienable right of every single American citizen.
I want to stop there. This guy has no clue what he's talking about. The government finally has given the American people an unalienable right to health care. He doesn't even know what an unalienable right is.
Yeah.
He has no clue what he's talking about. An unalienable right is something that is inherent within the individual, and an unalienable right is something that does not require a third party to assist you in exercising the right itself. Think about that. The freedom of speech, the freedom of assembly, the right to defend yourself, the right to be left alone, the right to travel, the right to pursue your education, the right to pursue your trade does not require a third party to intervene to assist you in fulfilling or exercising that inherent liberty. And here we have a guy taking the national stage saying what? An unalienable right to health care. You know what an unalienable right to health care requires? It requires theft. The taking of money from some individuals in order to allow other individuals to partake in a privilege is what it comes down to. He has no clue what he's talking about. Continue to roll that.
As I've said before, this bill is not complete. I've used the analogy of a starter home, in which we can add additions and enhancements as we go into the future. But like every right that we've ever passed for the American people.
All right, I'm done. I'm done with this. Like every right that we pass to the American people. Do these, I mean, when I listen to them talk, I think about Plato's Republic. I think about Thomas Hobbes' Leviathan. Is that what they're reading? Because they clearly have not read the Declaration of Independence or our Constitution, and if they have, they've disregarded it. That's what's going on. We've got to start educating ourselves as a people. And when we start educating ourselves as a people, guess what we can start doing? With authority, we can start demanding certain things from our representatives that hasn't been demanded in quite some time. There's a lot of questions that we should be asking, either on a one-on-one level or in a group setting. And I think Les, he got the party started. What is the purpose of government? What is the purpose of the Constitution? Those are questions that we need to be asking. Do they understand that the Constitution is one that limits ultimately what they can do? It tells them what they are permitted to do, and if the authority is not listed in Article 1 for the legislative branch, Article 2 for the executive branch, Article 3 for the judicial branch, guess what? They can't do it. And in case you haven't read the body of the Constitution, the 10th Amendment's a great reminder. Those powers that we haven't given you, you don't have. They remain with the states and with the people.
And I think that in their eyes, that is why the Constitution is such a problem, because it limits their ability to do what their agenda pushes them to do.
Right. Right.
Well, go back to their oath. If that's a problem, there's a problem electing those boys.
Yeah.
Because they take an oath to uphold that Constitution.
You know, wouldn't it be fantastic if we could roll into these meet and greets or these large forums with these candidates and have them right there in front of 100 people, in front of 1,000 people, and ask this question. Tell us where you derive your authority to act as a legislator in our Constitution. Where do you get your authority?
You'd get some wild looks.
You get some wild looks, and you get about 99% of them giving you the wrong answer. Of course, it's Article 1 that gives the legislature their power to act in the first place. Article 1, Section 1 says all legislative powers herein granted are vested in Congress. That's where they get their authority. But it gets even better. Wouldn't it be great if we as the American people started standing up and saying, hey, you know, I'm somewhat familiar with this Article 1, Section 8 stuff. and it grants you something like 20 powers, 20 things that you're permitted to do. Would you be so kind as to name 3 of those 20 grants of authority? Wouldn't that be awesome? Because I'm telling you right now, in Congress, most of them couldn't even tell you one.
That's when you get the deer in the headlight look.
Yeah.
Yep.
I bet you that most of them couldn't name one, and that's taxed the hell out of the American people. But of course but of course they haven't read the entire paragraph in Article 1, Section 8 that references the taxation power, because even the taxation power places limitations. It's not an unlimited power. And so we need to start asking those questions. What about the principles of federalism? Do these guys understand what federalism even is? Do they understand that you have 50 sovereigns within a sovereign? Do you understand what the 10th Amendment is designed to do? What will you do as a congressman to ensure that the 10th Amendment has teeth? What will you do to ensure that the states reserve the powers that they were intended to reserve? What will you do? I mentioned a little bit earlier the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. You know, this is one that everybody complains about. Oh, the Ninth Circuit, they're the most overturned circuit court in the nation right now. Well, what can the legislature do about it? Why don't we start asking individuals running for the legislature what they're going to do about it? Because guess what? Article 1, Section 8 tells them that they have the power to create the inferior courts. They get to make those decisions. If you don't like what certain courts are doing, divide them up, get rid of them. These are things that the legislature can do.